Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. This is part 2 of What If Deku had a Phoenix quirk. As always, please, if you enjoy, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And, yeah, that's all I gotta say. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Make sure to check the links in the description for the Discord and stuff like that. And, yeah, that's all I gotta say, and let's get right into the What If. Let's get it. Izuku Midoriya has a decision to make against Katsuki, Bakugo, and Tenya Ida. He needs to choose if he's going to take his anger that he's been holding for a very long time out on Bakugo and do something about what Bakugo did so long ago to him, or is he going to hold back? Is he going to do the task at hand and make sure that this situation, this training session goes flawlessly? And Izuku, frankly, it's hard for him. It's hard for him to choose. And as they take the 5 minutes to plan, him and Ochaku Uraka talk about different ways they can approach these things. And the only thing that stops him from ripping Bakugo apart is the fact that she even brings up the fact that he can fly. That they can fly around, they can find the spot, they can find the bomb and immediately just be done with it. And they'll get praised for it, for how quick they were able to do it. In which Izuku would hesitantly say fine, that it's okay, that he'll do as she wishes. And she asks, well, what does he want to do? In which he says he wants to fight, but he'll get his chance to fight sooner rather than later. So don't worry about it. Izuku flies up after the 5 minutes and drags Ochako with him, and they find the bomb. They would crash through the windows and they would touch the bomb in a record time. In one foul swoop, he's able to finish off this part of the test and/or training session, and the heroes versus villains training session would be over. Just like that, it would be over. And everybody is pretty impressed by how quick they were able to basically succeed at what they were trying to do. And of course, All Might would give his compliments, but Bakugo, well, he would be silent. Bakugo wouldn't even say a word. He wouldn't say anything about not being able to fight Deku, or not being able to do anything, or how quick they failed. He's not even saying anything, not saying a single thing. And the reason why he's not saying a single thing is because he knows what he did. He knows that beneath it all, Izuku wants to unleash this hellfire upon him. And he knows he's going to have to atone for whatever he did and all the things he did. But for now, he holds off on that, and he doesn't have to worry about fighting this person he created. And this person that is really out for vengeance and out for blood to a certain extent. Izuku is still holding that anger, and he's slowly but surely trying to get over it, but it's easier said than done. Some time would pass, and they would watch the other kids and the other students deal with their own adversities throughout this heroes versus villains training. And Izuku would just wait and kind of brood over the fact that he didn't get his chance to really take care of Bakugo once and for all. But still, he is a hero, and he has to think like a hero and do things like a hero. So he can't think about revenge to a large extent. So eventually, all of it would be said and done. The school day would be over, and their training sessions would continue on throughout the days to come. But eventually, what they really wanted to happen, and what really was an important part of their training, would kind of come up. And that would be the USJ. Yes, a training facility for rescue. That is a massive part of their training as heroes, and Izuku, he's pretty excited for it. But his excitement would be toned down pretty quickly when they would all arrive, they would all listen to Pro Hero 13, and then eventually they would hear something. They would hear rumbling across the way, and then eventually they would see something. A portal opening up and villains pouring out. The USJ is now flooded with villains, and Izuku can feel this fire and rage boiling beneath his skin. And the reason why he's boiling over at this moment, why he's so frustrated and angry, is that this was his time to truly feel like he was training to be a hero. He didn't have to look at the face of Bakugo, feel that he should try to forgive him, and feel like he was not much of a hero for feeling the way he was feeling. And this was his chance to kind of not necessarily get over it, but to an extent feel better about it. Feel better about becoming a hero slowly but surely. But this is a kind of trump in the deck of cards, a joker, you could even say, kind of like a stopping point and or a kind of throw in the hat type of moment. And Izuku feels as if everything that could have gone wrong just goes wrong. And everything from the start, from him not having a quirk, from others messing with him, bullying him, all of these things, he feels this seething underneath his skin. And he watches as Aizawa tells everybody to stay calm. He watches as Aizawa tells everybody to make sure to stay safe and that he will handle it. And as Aizawa jumps out and jumps off, Izuku, well, he would do the same, flying directly toward those villains as he would immediately begin to let loose a barrage of flames, scorching every single one of them that are in this large group of villains, to the point where they're all incapacitated, and he's able to basically overwhelm them with fumes and fire to the point where they all get knocked out. Aizawa questions if they're dead, but Izuku says no. He may be angry, but not that angry. They're not all dead. And if they were all dead, they would be all burned to ash. In which, of course, Shigaraki would be in complete shock at what he just watched, or what he just watched. And frankly, he doesn't know what the hell this kid is made of, but it's obvious he's gonna be a problem. In which he would send the Nomu immediately. The Nomu would immediately go charging at Izuku Midoriya, and Izuku would fend off the Nomu with flames and an overwhelming amount of them. And initially, it wouldn't be enough. Izuku would think that he would still need to hold back, but the Nomu's durability says otherwise. Izuku begins to let loose the power that he's been holding back, and he begins to let loose everything he possibly can, burning the Nomu and scorching him to the point where the skin on him begins to slowly but surely soften and meld off. It's as if his skin becomes more vulnerable, and soon the fire and the molten that he's basically applying to this Nomu begins to seep deeper within the Nomu's body, and the Nomu's body begins to break down and deteriorate. As Shigaraki watches this happen, and as Kurogiri watches this as well, there is a shock factor that is within them, a devastation that is within them. They're in complete and utter shock at the fact that this kid is basically engulfing this Nomu in flames, and the Nomu has nothing it can do about it. It's as if this person, whatever he is doing things that nobody expected to be the case. And the powers he has, it seems like they're so limitless, like they're completely limitless, and that there's nothing they can do to stop him. That this ability he has, this fire that he's breathing, and this fire that he's manipulating is something that they can't necessarily stop, and they don't know what the hell to do. It's as if on the single bit of fire that begins to touch this Nomu is now to the point where it's at a level of incineration that is getting rid of them, or getting rid of the Nomu entirely. But as Izuku finishes off this Nomu, he flies towards Shigaraki, and Shigaraki tries to basically set up for a counter, but he's too fast. Izuku lands a punch flush to the face of Shigaraki, a flaming punch, kind of burning him just a little bit, burning Shigaraki on the face just a little bit, but also knocking him clean toward the wall with power, superhuman-like power that he had no idea this kid could even possess. What kind of power is this? What kind of freaking insanity is this? He can't believe that he has to deal with whatever this thing is and whatever this thing's power truly is, because it's frankly so much more than just fire. It is so much more than just flames. It is so much more than just an ability to manipulate them. It is so much more. And that's what Shigaraki is feeling right now. Feeling this overwhelming sensation, and Kurogiri can tell they are being overwhelmed, and he gets Shigaraki out of there in an instant, getting him out of there before anybody could be hurt, or anybody else that matters could be hurt. That's what they're trying to avoid, and that's what Shigaraki, Kurogiri, and all of them are avoiding. They leave before even All Might could arrive, and Izuku stands there as Aizawa stands next to him, telling the kid that he shouldn't have done that, that it was reckless, and that he could have gotten hurt. But he did good. He did good. In which Aizawa would walk away, and Izuku would follow. There would be this feeling that Izuku would have, this feeling that this would not be the end of that guy, not be the end of that person. And he knows that something else is coming, that something else is bound to come. But for now, he continues his journey throughout UA, and what's up next is the UA Sports Festival. And the UA Sports Festival is a time for him to show off everything he can do, show off what he's truly capable of. And when they begin that UA Sports Festival, when things start with an obstacle course race, something, let's be honest, pretty basic, where the obstacles frankly shouldn't be that much of an issue to someone like Izuku Midoriya, who can literally fly. So he's able to fly by basically everything, like literally everything actually, and he flies through, and a lot of people try to keep up, but even Bakugo, who has some essence of flying as well, can't really keep up to the degree he wants to, because Izuku's natural flying ability is on like a totally different level than anyone else's ability to kind of run really fast, or kind of push themselves through the air, or move really quick on ice, or anything like that. His flying ability kind of outweighs them by a ton in just raw speed, and he kind of shows this all off, and he definitely gives a good impression to everybody else. And frankly, everybody watches this and watches the wings sprout from his back, the flame and fiery wings, and they think that this guy, this kid, he's going to be famous, that this kid is going to be a symbol, that the firepower he holds seems so majestic, that it's not brutish, it's not scary, it's gentle, it's feathery, it's beautiful, it's calming. He's like a fiery angel in a way, and everybody would watch as he crosses that finish line, and everybody celebrates. Everybody cheers him on, saying his name over and over, Izuku, Izuku, over and over, chanting his name. Izuku waves to them all, and begins to just wait for everybody else to finish, because the next portion of this kind of test-ish / UA Sports Festival is something known as the Cavalry Battle. But the Cavalry Battle itself, well, isn't going to be very difficult when you have someone like Izuku on your team, where Izuku would take on people like Ochako and or Tokiyami and Mei Hatsume, in which they would make for a pretty damn good team, where they can fly around and basically defend themselves. Now, the issue is a little bit with Dark Shadow and not being able to use him to his highest capabilities, but since they're frankly so strong, Izuku is able to fly around with all of them, or kind of make a fire-like area that seems to never burn out. Even Todoroki tries to use his ice to kind of subdue it just a little bit, but it seems like the fire itself just never stops burning, which is a crazy thing, and everybody kind of watches, and the only way that the fire even goes away is when Izuku decides to make it go away. And that's what he does. At the end of the Cavalry Battle, he puts the fire down, and everybody is in complete shock. His control over the fire seems to be like at a different level now. it seems that his control over his fire is kind of just outclassing so many people who are basically explosion fire slash users, or anybody in the world who really has a quirk like this. He has such a beautiful and majestic control over it, and it seems like he'll continue to climb the ranks. And what's next is the actual 1-versus-1 fights, and the first fight he has to actually participate in is with somebody by the name of Shinso. Shinso is someone who is in general studies, and well, they don't know much about him, but luckily Izuku is pretty friendly, and he's told that he actually has a mind control like quirk. If you answer a question, it seems like you fall under some sort of mind control like spell, in which Izuku wants to make sure he avoids that, so he doesn't say a word to Shinso. Now normally he would have some kind of hope for Shinso and kind of tell him, and he still tells him at the end of it all after defeating him, that he can definitely become a hero if he just keeps working hard. But Izuku has something to work toward. He's not going to throw his spot for someone like this just because he felt bad for him, just because he felt like he could give him a leg up. But he doesn't care. He wants to push himself toward those finals because there's one person that is going to be waiting for him, one person that he needs to meet, and that person is Bakugo. And he has to go through Todoroki to actually do it, in which Todoroki basically faces off with Izuku, and the first chance he gets, he would send a large glacier of ice at him. Izuku would dodge it and would begin to melt the ice entirely, creating a massive kind of gust of steam in a way. Izuku would continue to move around, and as he does, the steam would kind of move around with him, and of course Todoroki would try to fight through it. Izuku would continue to channel his flames toward Todoroki, and Todoroki would try to defend, but it seems like the fire would overwhelm him so much. Izuku questions why he doesn't fight fire with fire. He knows his other side can produce it, but of course Todoroki would refuse, saying that he will never use his father's quirk, in which Izuku would be pissed hearing this, angry. He would slam on the ground, and this would create shock waves throughout the entirety of the stadium. And he would tell Todoroki that he's selfish, self-centered, and just a brat. That people all around the world don't have a quirk, and even if they do, their quirk is far from his, far from Todoroki's. Todoroki has fire and ice. He has it freaking made, and he sits here saying that he won't use his other side because it's not his quirk. He's ridiculous. Izuku yells at Todoroki, telling him that he fell from the sky, burned up and engulfed in flames to get this power. His ashes were scattered on the ground, and well, by whatever glorious person, glorious kind of god out there, if anything, any creature revived him, whatever that was, whatever creature decided to reawaken him, and he rose from the ashes, and that's what it took him to gain this power. That's what it meant to truly have his own powers. But guess what? He had nothing. That day that he was up on that rooftop that he fell, he was already contemplating. He was already thinking. And all of those horrible things that go through and rush through those people's heads, people like him, people that were once in a situation like that, it takes more strength, more power, more strength and everything deep down inside to not step over that ledge. And what's even worse is he didn't. That Izuku, that himself was settled with being a nobody. But then one push is all it took. And now he's somebody. And he will not take it for granted. And he wonders, Todoroki, will you take it for granted? Will you take the powers that were blessed upon you for granted? In which Izuku would stand there and fire would engulf, his wings would grow larger, and flames would surround him, and he would yell one more time toward Todoroki, asking him, will he throw aside what is obviously his, what is rightfully his, or will he channel it and use it? In which immediately Izuku would see hesitation in the face of Todoroki, and he said he doesn't care, as his wings would flap toward Todoroki, creating a gust of wind, combining with his flames channeled toward him, and Todoroki, in a last-ditch effort, would raise both of his hands and channel them forward, ice and fire blending together, trying to hold off the power of a phoenix, in which Izuku would slowly but surely overwhelm him and tell Todoroki that he fought good, and that he fought proper, and that he's happy that he gave him all he got, and that he gave him all he has. But the thing is that his resolve, that the resolve of Izuku Midoriya will always be greater. As the flames would overwhelm and the wind would push forward, it would throw Todoroki off the stage, but in an instant, the flames would dissipate and be gone. Todoroki would lay there completely stunned, but also on the verge of passing out. Izuku would fly over as his wings would dissipate, and Izuku would hold out one hand, helping Todoroki up, putting him on his shoulders, and getting him out of the area. Everybody cheers. Everybody is in complete shock with chants of both Todoroki and Izuku at the same time, and everybody, they're happy to see what just happened. They're happy to see what Izuku did for that other student. But Izuku's mission, it's not over just yet. It's far from it, because Izuku's next mission is to take down Bakugo, and whoever's in his way, they won't stop him. And that next person is Tenya Ida. And Tenya Ida, he stands no chance, getting knocked out of the ring instantly before Izuku could really even do that much. And now he has a date with destiny, a date to take down Bakugo, a date to completely destroy him. But when he steps on that mat, when he steps down there and he stares Bakugo in the face, what he sees isn't the same person that once bullied him, isn't the same person that once made fun of and tortured and hurt him so much. He sees somebody else, somebody who looks distraught, somebody who looks like they feel horrible. But for now, it doesn't matter. Izuku charges forward and a fight ensues, and he begins to use his hands, devoiding from the fire that he could create. He uses the power that was blessed upon him. Fighting with his fists, the power is overwhelming. Punch after punch, Bakugo can feel his jaw cracking, as if the power itself from just Izuku was enough. The power that Izuku has gained, he doesn't want to show Bakugo. He doesn't want to show the flames of glory that was gifted upon him. He wants to fight him hand to hand, and he is beating on Bakugo. But at punch after punch, everybody in the crowd would whisper, everybody in the crowd would be shocked, and eventually Izuku would realize that he's taken it too far. Bakugo now on the ground, now hurt, but still resolve within Bakugo's eyes, blasting an explosion toward Izuku that he moves out of the way and dodges. But Izuku looks to see that Bakugo has gone through enough torment, enough beating, and frankly, there's still hatred and hurt within Izuku's chest. But it doesn't matter. He needs to be better, a better person, and a better hero. Izuku would drag Bakugo and toss him off the stage and tell him that this was mercy, that he could have kept him in this ring and kept beating on him, but he didn't. And he hopes that he remembers that, and he remembers all of the things that he did to him way back when. And I hope he remembers that he's the reason why these powers were bestowed upon him, but also the reason why he can still feel this hatred within his heart. He walks away with the crowd cheering and everybody chanting his name. Izuku Midoriya is the winner of the UA Sports Festival, the winner of it all. Now, he would stand on the podium alone, basically by himself, others dealing with injuries and so on. And Izuku would be bestowed the medal of the #1 student in the year 1 class. And he would watch as everyone cheers and chants his name. And he would prepare for whatever's to come for himself, whatever is going to be next for his destiny. And what's coming next is basically his chance to actually work with one of the best and strongest heroes in Japan, because when days would pass on by and all of the letters would come in, he would see one letter that was different than the rest, a letter decorated in flames. And as he opens it and looks, he sees one person entitled to it, and that one person is Endeavor. Endeavor has offered him a spot as an internship alongside Shoto Todoroki, and he believes that Izuku has the key to awakening a power deep inside Todoroki, a power that even Endeavor would have no chance at awakening in the first place. Izuku looks toward Todoroki, and Todoroki would try to avoid his glance, but he would look back. He would nod his head, and Izuku would do the same. And it's as if they had some sort of an agreement to go on, to take on this internship, but take it on together. And Izuku is concerned that Todoroki is holding on to these horrible feelings about his father, so much so that this won't be as productive as he wants it to be. But it seems like all he can do now is trust that whatever happens at that internship is what is supposed to happen. And after a while, they would finally head off, and Izuku and Todoroki would arrive, and they would speak to Endeavor. Endeavor would talk about what they're going to do, the training that he's going to put them through. But even throughout all this training, Izuku could tell that there was still hesitation within Todoroki, hesitation to use that side of him, use the side that burns so hot. He doesn't want to. He doesn't. But he knows that he should. The speech that Izuku gave cuts deep into Todoroki's chest. It cuts deep into his heart. And he knows that he's being selfish. But even Izuku tells him at the end of it all that he gets it. He understands that he suffered and that he went through hell. And there's a reason why he neglects this side of him. But he tells him over and over again that no matter where it came from, that quirk is a blessing. That quirk is something that was gifted to him, given to him, and now he needs to utilize it as his own. In which Todoroki would finally heed the words of Izuku Midoriya fully, and he would begin to truly utilize his fire side to its fullest extent. And he would try to utilize both his ice and fire to the extent that he possibly, or the highest extent he possibly could. But the next challenge they truly have, the next challenge would be one they weren't expecting by any means necessary, and that would be a date and a fight with the hero killer. Because the hero killer would be threatening to kill Tenya Ida, and in a Hosu City kind of experience with Izuku, Todoroki, and also Endeavor, they would stumble across their dear friend about to be killed. But we're going to have to wait for the fight between Izuku, Todoroki versus the hero killer for the next part and the third part of What If Deku Had a Phoenix Quirk. And if you enjoyed, show some love, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And yeah, I don't really got much else to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to show love to the video. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.